Hey everyone. You probably noticed already how everyone is talking about Conor McGregor like the comeback is already dead. Too old, too inactive, too rich, too damaged, too far gone, and maybe all of that is fair. Max Holloway should be the favorite. He has been active, he has evolved, and he has spent years proving himself against the best fighters in the world, while Conor has mostly been outside the cage. But here's the part people are ignoring. Conor does not need to be the old Conor to win this fight. He does not need to return as the featherweight killer, the untouchable trash talker, or the version that made the whole sport feel like it belonged to him. He only needs one part of that old version to still be real: the timing. Because if the left hand is still sharp, if Max gives him entries, and if Conor can make the first two rounds dangerous enough to slow the fight down, this comeback is not as impossible as people want it to be. Max should be favored, but acting like Conor has no path to victory is just cope. I'm not going to pretend Conor should be the favorite. He shouldn't. Max Holloway is more active, more durable, more proven over long fights, and he has been living inside elite competition, while Conor has been away for 5 years. McGregor's last UFC fight was in 2021 when he suffered the leg injury against Dustin Poirier, and the UFC has him returning against Holloway at UFC 329 on July 11th. However, that was 5 years ago. That is more than enough time to recover, which is positive. I don't think he would accept a fight at this point in his career that he doesn't think he can win. Max Holloway has been dropped 3 times in his last 4 fights. He's been finished by Topuria, dominated on the ground by Oliveira, and dropped by a retired Poirier. The last time we got to see Max move up a weight class without much time to prepare, he didn't look to be in his best shape, and this was a strategy by McGregor to make this fight at welterweight. The first thing that matters is the matchup history. Conor and Max already fought once, back in 2013, and Conor won by unanimous decision. That fight does not predict the rematch by itself because both fighters are completely different now. So Max became a champion, built an incredible career, and improved massively. But the first fight still matters because it showed something important. Conor's distance, timing, and southpaw counters gave Holloway real problems before either man had reached their final form. McGregor also was able to utilize the takedowns well against Holloway. With Oliveira exposing Max's ground game flaws in his last fight, I see McGregor going back to this strategy if all goes wrong on the feet. Another thing is the left hand, his biggest weapon. People talk about Conor like everything disappeared because he has been inactive, but power is usually one of the last things to leave a fighter. Speed fades, cardio fades, rhythm fades, durability fades, but timing and power can survive longer than people expect. And Conor's best weapon has never been just raw power. It has always been the ability to make opponents step onto the shot. That matters against Max. Holloway is brilliant, but he is also hittable. That is not disrespect. That is part of what makes him who he is. He builds volume, pressure, rhythm, and momentum. He overwhelms opponents by forcing them into long exchanges. But to do that, he has to give opponents chances to hit him. He trusts his chin, his pace, and his ability to win the longer battle. Against most fighters, that is a nightmare. Against Conor, it also creates danger. Conor is the bigger guy. He has been floating around this weight for a while, and let me tell you again, he wouldn't take a fight. He doesn't think he can't win. The early rounds are where Conor is most dangerous. That has always been true. He is at his sharpest when he is fresh, calm, and seeing the opponent clearly. His counters come faster, his reads are cleaner, his confidence is higher. If he is going to win this fight, it probably happens because he hurts Max early or forces Max to respect the danger enough that the fight becomes slower than Holloway wants. And that is the key. Conor does not only need to land big, he needs to change Max's behavior. If Max feels comfortable walking forward, touching him, feinting, and adding volume, the fight becomes ugly for Conor. But if Conor can hurt him even once, Max has to think differently. The pressure becomes less free, the entries become more careful, the volume slows down. And once a volume fighter becomes cautious, the entire fight changes. Welterweight is going to help Conor in one specific way. This fight is expected at welterweight, which changes the usual conversation. Max has spent most of his career at featherweight and lightweight, while Conor has already fought multiple times at 170. That does not automatically make Conor better at welterweight, but it does mean the size and power dynamic may be different than people expect. Holloway may be the fresher, more active fighter, but Conor could still be the heavier hitter in the cage. This fight is closer than people realize. Conor's low expectations might actually help him. For years, every Conor fight came with insane pressure. He was not just expected to win, he was expected to perform, entertain, dominate, talk, sell, and prove something bigger than the fight. This time, the tone is different. A lot of people expect him to lose. A lot of people think he is finished. That is dangerous because if he is even slightly better than people expect, the whole conversation shifts fast. The comeback layoff is brutal, but it can also hide information. This is the one small advantage inactivity gives him. There is very little recent tape. Nobody really knows what Conor looks like now in an MMA fight. That is mostly bad for Conor because inactivity usually hurts the fighter coming back. But it also means Max is preparing for a version of Conor that might not exist anymore, good or bad. Maybe he is worse, maybe he is slower, but maybe he has also changed small things. Maybe the stance is different, maybe the weight changes his durability. Maybe he fights more patiently because he knows he cannot waste energy like he used to. Conor cannot win by pretending it is 2016. That is the most important thing. If he comes back trying to be the old Conor, he probably gets broken down. The old swagger is not enough. The old aura is not enough. The old left hand by itself is not enough. He needs a more disciplined version, less showboating, less loading up, more body work, more clinch control, more patience, more respect for Max's pace. To be honest, the worst version of Conor loses badly. That needs to be said. If Conor is flat footed, tired after one round, emotionally reactive, or too obsessed with landing one perfect left hand, Max will drown him. Holloway will jab, feint, touch the body, increase pace, and make the comeback look exactly like this sad version people expect. That outcome is very possible. But the best realistic version of Conor can win, not Prime Conor, not Fantasy Conor, not the mythical 2015 version, a realistic winning version. One that is sharp for 8 to 10 minutes, one that manages distance, one that attacks the body, one that makes Max pay for entries, one that hurts him early enough to slow the storm. That version has a shot because MMA comebacks usually fail when fighters chase who they used to be. But they sometimes work when fighters accept what they are now. If Conor tries to return as a memory, Max probably beats him. If Conor returns as a colder, more disciplined, more selective puncher, the fight becomes interesting. That is the real argument. Conor does not need to prove he is back to being the best fighter in the world. He does not need to rebuild the entire old myth in one night. He needs to prove that one part of the myth is still alive. The timing, the left hand, the ability to make one mistake matter more than it should. So no, Conor McGregor should not be treated like the old king walking back to his throne. But he should not be treated like a corpse either. Because if the timing is still there, if the left hand still carries, and if Max gives him the kind of entry he has punished for his entire career, this comeback may not be as impossible as people want it to be. If you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe. It will help out the channel a lot and will be highly appreciated. Peace.